Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're so happy to present this forum on equal protection for unborn humans. So we have several presenters today. I'm going to begin, I'm going to be bringing the case from science and philosophy, and also talking about the current state of abortion law in Maryland and what needs to change. And then I'll be introducing the other speakers as we go. So again, I thank you all for coming today. I want to read to you a quote. And then we're going to talk about the case for the equal protection of the unborn from science and philosophy. I've always frankly admitted that abortion is murder, the extermination of the powerless by the powerful. Liberals, for the most part, have shrunk from facing the ethical consequences of their embrace of abortion, which results in the annihilation of concrete individuals and not just clumps of insensate tissue. Now, you may think that that quote came from a pro-life advocate, but in fact, that was written by Camille Paglia, published in the Salon magazine in an article entitled Fresh Blood for the Vampire. Camille Paglia is in fact an ardent feminist and abortion supporter. The reason I read that quote to you this morning is because I want to establish pro-life advocates need to understand that actually the scientific reality that the unborn is a distinct living whole human being from the very moment of its creation at fertilization is not a matter that is up for dispute anymore. Even the best pro-choice advocates agree with us on that point. The pro-life argument, those of us who argue that the unborn deserve equal protection under law, our basic argument is this: it's wrong to intentionally kill an innocent human being and should be illegal. Abortion intentionally kills an innocent human being. Therefore, abortion is wrong and should be illegal. So the central question in our debate is, what is the unborn? Because as Greg Koukl says, if the unborn are not human beings, then no justification for abortion is necessary, any more than removing a mole or trimming your toenails. But if the unborn are human beings, then no justification for abortion is sufficient. And on this question, as I said, science is clear, and the best advocates on both sides of the debate agree that from fertilization, the unborn is a distinct living whole human being. So I'm going to go through just a very brief overview of the science. We'll talk about some philosophy and good reasoning, and then I'll cover a few common objections. So science answers the question, what is the unborn? So if we ask, when does a new individual human life begin, we can go to an embryology textbook. In Keith Moore's embryology textbook, The Developing Human, Clinically Oriented Embryology, he writes, human development begins at fertilization, approximately 14 days after the onset of the last menstrual period, when a sperm fuses with an oocyte to form a single cell, the zygote. This highly specialized, totipotent cell marks the beginning of each of us as a unique individual. So there you have it. That's straight from an embryology textbook that any student of embryology would use in their college education. So the science is undisputed. From fertilization, the unborn is a distinct, living whole human being who directs her own development from within. Science can tell us what is the unborn, but science cannot tell us how we should treat the unborn. And so for that, we go to reason and philosophy. And philosophy is going to help us to determine who gets to enjoy a right to life. Well, what about human rights, and especially the most basic and most important human right, the right to life? Well, first of all, think about this. If human rights exist at all, they must begin to exist when that human individual begins to exist. And we've already seen that's at fertilization. Human equality, at which we all agree that we all agree that we have equal rights in this room, right? But we are all very different. However, even though we're different, we share equal rights. So why is that? We need to ask ourselves a question. Why do we agree that even though humans come in different ages, sizes, levels of development, neediness, we all have some basic rights in common? Well, that must be because we have something in common. What is that? What's the thing that we all share equally? Well, Mike Adams, in a debate with the famous abortionist Willie Parker, said this. He said, "We all have a right to life because of the kind of thing we are, not because of the kind of things we do." What is the kind of thing that we are? That's what we all share. We are human kinds of things. We are not rock kind of things, or tree kind of things, or puppy kind of things. We are human, and that's what makes us equal. Some humans, though, can't do calculus, and others can. Some can dunk a basketball, others can't. Some humans can't walk, or see, or bake a pie. But we are all humans, and that's the thing that gives us an equal right to life. But if we all have equal right to life because we're human, then, and because human is the kind of thing that we are, then the unborn also have an equal right to life because they are human too. We know that from science. That's not disputed. And what is the purpose of the law? The purpose of the law is to protect the rights of human individuals. So I'm going to just go through a couple of objections that are very common that you may hear. What about rape? Well, we agree that rape is a horrible act of violence against an innocent person. But we can't undo it or make it better by committing another act of violence against another innocent person. What about the life of the mother? Well, we believe that the life of the unborn child, because she is human, is equally valuable as the life of her mother. We've just established that. So medical caregivers should seek to protect both lives. And we can and should require medical providers to exhaust all available resources to save both lives in the event that there is a potentially life-threatening situation. In rare cases, and they are very rare, when only one life can be saved, no one, under the law that we are going to be proposing, will be prosecuted for that as long as he or she documents that, according to the Hippocratic Oath, he or she has exhausted all possible available resources trying to save both lives. And in the vast majority of the cases, that is going to be possible. What about bodily rights? Well, all people, including the unborn, have a right to bodily integrity. For example, no one can force you to donate your kidney, no matter how needy they are. We all agree to that. But what about a woman who doesn't want her fetus to use her body for 9 months while it grows and develops? Should she have the right to deny the use of her body to that fetus? Well, perhaps if she could simply unplug from the fetus and put him in an alternative safe environment, maybe. But she can't. Abortion is never an act in which a mother simply unplugs from or refuses care to her fetus. Abortion is always an act of intentional killing. No one's bodily rights include the right to commit an act of violence or to kill another human being. As Timothy Brown has said, abortion is not about refusing service to a needy child. Abortion is about killing a healthy child. It's not about giving a woman a right to refuse. It's about giving women a license to kill her own child. Just to clarify this point a little more, I'd like to show you a video now that illustrates a second trimester abortion procedure. Gabriel?
My name is Dr. Anthony Levatino. I'm a practicing obstetrician-gynecologist, and I've performed over 1,200 abortions. Today I'm going to describe a second trimester surgical abortion called dilatation and evacuation, or D&E. The D&E is performed between 13 and 24 weeks of pregnancy. After administering anesthesia, the abortionist uses a weighted speculum, like this one, that opens the vagina widely. Because second trimester babies are so large, this greater access facilitates a late-term abortion. Late-term abortion requires that the cervix be prepared 24 to 48 hours in advance with laminaria. Laminaria is a type of sterilized seaweed that absorbs water over 8 to 12 hours and swells to several times its original diameter. Once removed, metal dilators can be used to further open the cervix as needed. Once the cervix has been stretched open, the suction tube is placed inside. A baby at 20 weeks gestation is as big as the length of my hand, from head to rump, not counting the legs. The suction machine is turned on, and pale yellow amniotic fluid surrounding the baby is suctioned out through the catheters. With babies this big, they don't fit through catheters this size. The baby's bones and skull are too strong to be torn apart by suction alone. This is a Sofer clamp. A Sofer clamp is made of stainless steel. It's about 13 inches long. The business end is about 2.5 inches long and 1/2 inch wide, and there are rows of sharp teeth. This is a grasping instrument. When it gets a hold of something, it does not let go. The abortionist uses this clamp to grasp an arm or a leg. Once he has a firm grip, the abortionist pulls hard in order to tear the limb from the baby's body. One by one, the rest of the limbs are removed, along with the intestines, the spine, and the heart and lungs. Usually the most difficult part of the procedure is extracting the baby's head, which is about the size of a large plum at 20 weeks. The head is grasped and crushed. The abortionist knows he has crushed the skull when a white substance comes out of the cervix. This was the baby's brains. The abortionist then removes skull pieces. He removes the placenta and any leftover parts of the baby with a curette, scraping the lining of the uterus for any remaining tissue. The abortionist then collects the baby parts and reassembles them to make sure that there are 2 arms, 2 legs, and all the pieces. Once all the parts have been accounted for, the abortion is complete. For the woman, this procedure carries a significant risk of major complications, including perforation or laceration of the uterus or cervix, with possible damage to the bowel, bladder, and other maternal organs. Infection and hemorrhage can also occur, which can even lead to death. Future pregnancies are also at greater risk for loss or premature delivery due to abortion-related trauma and injury to the cervix. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm Dr. Anthony Levatino, and in the early part of my career as an OBGYN, I performed over 1,200 abortions. One day, after completing one of those abortions, I looked at the remains of a preborn child whose life I had ended, and all I could see was someone's son or daughter. I came to realize that killing a baby at any stage of pregnancy for any reason is wrong. I want you to know today, no matter where you're at or what you've done, you can change. Make a decision today to protect the preborn. Thank you for your time. Will no longer do any more abortions. When you finally figure out that killing a baby that big.
Thank you, Gabriel. So this abortion is legal and common in Maryland. Abortionprocedures.com, the website that I just, from which that video was taken, has also animations of other videos. You can check those out later. So the current law in Maryland, here's where we are. Right now, abortion is available on demand at any time in pregnancy, during pregnancy in Maryland, even up through the end of the third trimester. There is a so-called viability restriction in Maryland that says that the state you can restrict abortion after the baby is viable outside of the womb, whatever that means. We could talk about that later. But it's meaningless because there is a health of the mother exception. And pursuant to Doe v. Bolton, which was decided, a Supreme Court case decided the same day as Roe v. Wade, 1973, health is defined as all factors, physical, emotional, psychological, familial, and the woman's age, relevant to the well-being of the patient. So there's no meaningful restriction of any kind in Maryland. I just want to take a moment here. We're going to look at one more video here. I want you to actually see the victims of legal abortions here in Maryland. Now this video is 55 seconds long. It's very graphic. It will show you the images of actual abortion victims at 3 different, first trimester abortion, second trimester abortion, and a third trimester abortion. I just want to say quickly before we show this video, we recognize that it's possible that you may have abortion in your past. And we all want you to know that we do not judge or condemn anyone, but we also want to let you know that there is hope and forgiveness and healing through our Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ. So if you want to talk to any of us about that, you're more than welcome to do that. Get in touch with us. We would love to help you work through that. So Gabriel, would you please play the video? Thank you, Gabriel. According to Guttmacher, in 2017, there were 29,800 abortions in Maryland. That works out to 114 innocent children that have a right to life given to them by their creator, killed legally every workday in Maryland, 114. There are at least 44 facilities that do abortions and many, many hospitals. I don't know the count, but I know that in Baltimore there are about 10. Good morning, Senator Sullivan. Thank you for joining us. So what do we need to do? Where are we? We need to look at science and good reasoning, and we need to define life's beginning scientifically. And as we've seen, that is at fertilization. We need to provide equal protection under law to those tiny humans. And we need to classify any intentional killing of unborn children as homicide. In the bill that we hope to introduce, or we will pre-file for the 2021 session, there will be no exceptions. We will enact a bill that expands human rights protections to include all humans, especially the most vulnerable, marginalized, and targeted people in Maryland, the unborn.